welcome to Film Study Podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. We're halfway through season 6. This is crazy, especially because it could be the potential last
The
season,
end.
at least
The
with
last.
All-American as we know it.
Oh my
But
god.
I mean, as you hear the
What am I
back,
gonna
as
do
you
with
hear,
myself?
I have two guests on the pod. One is Brittany Love, which y'all, everybody should know,
Yes.
Miss Jennifer Hudson extraordinary.
Your name. Wait, the Jennifer Hudson extraordinary. Oh, that's a new title. Oh my god.
And it's funny that you were on Jennifer Hudson because I also have my friend Jenn, who you all should be familiar with if you've listened to this podcast at any point over the past couple of years. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Kids See Ghosts: The Return of Billy Baker, baby. In episode
Billy Baker, baby.
in episode 8.
I miss Hey Diggs. I really do. Oh,
episode 8 of this season, the penultimate episode before we get to episode 100. Let's get into it very quickly. You all might not have been on since I switched it. I said for season 6 we're doing something new. So A, B, C, D, E, or F. Give it a letter grade this episode in a quick why.
Who going first? You go first, Jen.
Okay. I think a solid B plus.
Okay.
Just because there are two storylines that kind of irritated me a little bit. The Jordan and Max storyline and
Oh.
and the what other storyline? The Jordan and Layla storyline a little bit. So and I know
Hold the front door. Okay,
Not just starting with fighting words. I was not expecting that at all.
already. That's so
the thing is,
I'm ready. I brought the arm.
when we get to the Jordan Layla storyline, my grade might change by like if we define a certain word differently. But for now, it's a B plus because of Jordan the Mac and Jordan Layla.
Oh wow, both storylines with Jordan. Brittany, how about you?
Wow. I'm going to give it an A minus. And the A is mostly because of Jordan and Layla. And
y'all in for a treat this episode, clearly.
Because I'm like, wait, what? I'm so curious.
Yeah, me too.
Y'all know
I was also not expecting Jen to say this.
But
and
right, like,
let me do a little intro after the intro for why I have Jen on here to explain. Number one, just because we're pals and we're friends, but also obviously I wanted Brittany on for what I think is going to be Layla's highlight episode of the season.
Yeah,
I also thought
really
this episode in general was just one of the tops for All-American, which gives my grade of an A minus, and I think it took it to the A minus, and I'm saying
okay
because I do think it was weaker in the beginning half of the episode. Minus like excluding like Layla's storyline. I think that started off strong. But I think that it slowly sort of got better as you hit the halfway marker, and I think I was even surprised at how into some of the storylines like Coop and Patience I was for this episode. So I was just like, I think
Coop,
that
shout out to the ladies. The ladies
I think did a really great job
for me. Coop and Patience was amazing.
Opposite you, Jen. I think the weaker storyline was Dion and Spencer, but
yes, I was going. That was my
but
okay. At least
why I had both Brittany and Jen on is because I knew that this was going to be a pressure point of sorts, and we were going to get sort of the climax of this Layla mental health storyline. Brittany obviously being the chief, right? The chief. You're a Layla captain before you were a Jordala captain, so that's why I have you on here.
Yes, I am. And this episode was just so important, it being mental health awareness.
Right.
So,
Exactly. exactly.
They,
And
yes.
Jenn is, and I'm just gonna call you like you are a health professional. And so we've been chatting about sort of how the writers have written this mental health storyline so far, and I thought you would be a really great perspective to
Mm-hmm.
bring on as we see
Okay.
Layla in therapy. And I got the little psych background too. So I'm kidding.
Okay. All right. And I do not have none of that background, but I have just, I deal with mental health issues a lot just within
Hmm.
my family. This,
Yeah.
like, everything that Layla's going
Okay.
through, dealt with it with my mom and my
Mm-hmm.
brothers. So it's like, just personally knowing that feeling of dealing with somebody with extreme severe depression, it
Right.
hit.
Right.
So,
Um, so the intro to this episode, why before we launch into the storylines, is that we see that Liv has missed her deadline to submit her manuscript to her publisher, which is interesting because I'm like, I feel like the writers sometimes are way too casual about Liv like just missing things with her work, and
missing
I
things.
just don't want that to become a habit for her. And it seems like it is. I'm like, this would not fly. I know this is a fictional world, but the
Right.
amount of
And real,
times that they've just
yeah,
let Liv just be so casual about missing deadlines and things for her job and for her work is kind of crazy to me, especially for how young she is.
it is.
But obviously it gets figured out down the line.
And she kind of just gets away with it
Exactly,
type
exactly.
thing. So, right, like, huh? How
Exactly.
that happen?
But so we start off with that, and then we get sort of Dion saying his sister kicked him out, but later we find out that that's not really what happened, and Patience is prepping for trial. So let's get into, and obviously Layla is in therapy. Let's get into Coop, Patience, and the trial prep.
Okay.
Coop tells Laura pretty
Mm-hmm.
quickly that she wants to prep Patience for the upcoming trial with Miko. And Laura is just like not really feeling it at first, but then she's just like, all right, I'll let you do it and I'll monitor you. They I have a note here that's like, I want to know why they have Patience in that My Date with the President's Daughter fit. Like, did you see?
Mary Poppins, y'all. She said, you going to have to look innocent. You can't wear what you wear. This is the most innocent
Right.
outfit out there. So put this
But
on.
it's so funny because I like don't even know if that would
That's
help them in
crazy.
trial necessarily, because it just feels like Patience is putting on some persona that's not her. But
It's definitely not
but
her.
Patience is not really feeling this look change either, and she's just as we all are kind of with this storyline. She's exhausted of giving Miko this.
She us for real. I'm like, at some point, y'all, let's
Literally.
just meet your ass in jail and get to a new storyline
Exactly,
because I can't.
exactly. So Coop preps her. She goes pretty easy on her and gives her some softball questions. Laura calls her out on that. Laura's face in the background, by the way, I hope people were paying attention a little bit because she was cracking me up when
Show
she was just
us.
like in her office, like lurking in the background. She looked pissed about the job that
Like,
Coop
what?
was
She
doing.
was pissed. She was like, here she
Exactly. She
go.
was like,
Right.
I knew I shouldn't have gave this girl the thing.
I
She
know.
tears into her pretty bad, right? Before Coop
Yeah.
finally gets it together. And this is why I say it really like it outdid itself for me, because not only did it get me for the first time, I think, like interested and really entertained with this Miko story, but I think for the first
Mm.
time when we saw Coop the second time go at Patience, come for her sexual
Hmm.
history, come for like all of those things. It was
Everything.
also, by the way, off of the bomb that we got with Layla, which we'll get to sort of at the end. But it was we were
Mm.
already on sort of an emotional high at that point in the episode, and then to get Coop coming that hard for Patience, and it was really, which Jen, this has been my thing with Coop, but it was really just I always think like Coop is very selfish a lot of the time, and this is something that she was coming hard not to like because she's being Coop, right? And she's just doing whatever she wants to do. It was
Mm.
really in an effort to help
Yeah,
Patience,
To
which I
help her.
really
Yeah.
to help.
appreciated. And she really came hard
Yeah,
at her. I was like, oh my god.
She came hard.
So
Like
she
Patience
did.
couldn't
She did.
separate Coop from the lawyer. I'm like, remember, this ain't Coop
exactly,
coming at you. But she was like, why are you coming? Like, you know me more than anything. I'm like, that ain't Coop
exactly.
though. She's giving you that real that's gonna
Yeah, yeah.
happen.
So what did y'all think about that and Coop prepping her and then Coop ultimately telling Laura like, I don't think she can go on the stand.
Yes, I thought it was well done. I think Laura just being there for it all, and then kind of like telling Coop, just especially that first time, because Coop swears she was hitting her with those hard questions, but I'm like, Laura had to let her know the deal. Like, no, those are baby questions when it comes to that. Like, they're going to come after her. They're going to attack her. Like, I know you don't want to say the things, but you're going to have to say it to her, and just kind of separate yourself and y'all relationship for a second to really help her out. And she went hard on her, but like Patience, like that was like Patience was forgetting that, Coop wasn't being Coop in that moment, and she needed to hear that. And I like, yeah, I don't think Patience should be going on
She said, "Don't
the
put on
stand at
stand. I'm
all
with you."
after that. Do not. Coop was like, and I was like, yes, please find a different route, because I don't even think y'all have time to kind of to get Patience to be like, okay, say this instead. Say no. She's going to collapse up there. So they really gonna have to find a different alternative with this. But I really loved how they did that. Because it just showed that this was all to help Patience. Like it, and I love that side of Coop. I'm so glad. I'm so happy where they are now, in their relationship too. But I loved it. I enjoyed it highly. That was like that moment of the Miko that I was just like, oh, okay, now I'm interested. Like, this is interesting for me. Cause I'm like, can y'all just throw this girl away at this point? And we haven't even seen Miko
I
yet at
know, that's
all.
been
We
so
just keep
strange,
hearing
right?
about her.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm kind of waiting for that moment
yeah,
too.
yeah. What about you, Jen?
I love Tamia. Like
Yes,
that's
I
my
do.
girl.
Yes, I do.
I liked I liked the way she approached patients and the question that she did and everything. But I do think she kind of let her feelings get in the way at the end, where she was like, patients can't go understand. Because isn't the whole point of like witness prep to like help the witness take the stand? So that switch of just like, oh no, patient can't go understand, that immediate feeling of patients can't go on. I do think that her love for patients like um kind of clouded her judgment in that way.
Yeah, no, I
Mm.
agree. I'm with you on that. I do think patients should take the stand with more prep, but I do think patients should. Yeah,
Really? She
because they
needs to
don't
get
have the
prep
video
though.
and like, dude, like patients has the scars, right? And so it's that, and she just needs to get her story straight. The funny thing, the funny thing in the midst of that intense thing is that I feel like Coop was asking what the audience was asking a little bit, in terms of, we watched patients watch this girl not only knock on the door, right, not check who was outside the door, but open the door, let her in, let her walk the like 2-3 steps to get to patient. Like, there was a recognition there. She didn't try to run, she didn't try to fight back, she didn't try to do anything. And I think I just appreciated that they brought that up, because
Yeah,
yeah, it's like, girl, what were you thinking? And I think it's gonna be as simple as like, she was in shock, and it
yeah.
was so she could neither do fight or flight. It was just like pure, just what is the word that I'm thinking of? She just went into a panic.
Panic attack. Yeah.
When it came to patients and the way she was answering the stories, I felt the question, sorry, I felt was really real for like a trauma response, where
Definitely.
there's that like what fight, flight, and freeze,
Hmm.
Yeah,
and how and now sometimes the trauma, like, you can't really remember what happened, you just remember the beginning and the end, and the middle parts are very hard to recall. So I really liked how they approached that
Yeah.
with patients.
for sure. No, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I agree. And I think that's what we were talking about, right? Is that
Hmm.
she didn't do fight or flight. She really just it was the freeze. It was the freeze response.
With
Yeah.
a freeze. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
I will just say, because I'm a Tamia fan, hashtag Coop Troop.
And Spencer and Olivia, they
I'm hollering. But you, okay, you still not really big on Coop,
yeah,
right?
no,
I think
of course not.
because
What?
so you, oh, you like Coop. Oh, y'all complete
Yeah,
opposite. This is
but we are
hilarious.
still friends. And again, it can show people, right, online, especially that, you can be cordial and respectful and nice and still disagree with people.
Without
Yeah,
liking.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
I just had to.
Hilarious.
I know you had to. I know you just can't help yourself, can you? Anyway,
Don't worry, we about to go up for Layla, so it's fine. Let her have her moment.
not Spencer and Liv specifically, but the Billy Baker letters. Number one, let me start off with this. I'm so glad we got a housekeeper reference. We haven't seen that housekeeper in ages.
Ever.
And I've been wondering where she was, and I'm like, oh, they finally decided to bring her name back up
Bring
as
her
if she
back
never
up.
existed. Exactly.
That
It's
was
just
a
like
long minute.
it was a lot. She like disappeared in the middle of season one. It was so weird. But anyway, I'm glad that we finally. I guess she's still alive and well and kicking. It's just amen, 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 amen. But so Billy had written these letters when Liv and Jordan were born, originally to be read after college, but Laura gives them to say, like, she wanted to give it to Liv because she's having challenges with her book, which is the first time we've really seen like Laura engaging with Liv in this book storyline since the very beginning, which is interesting. And it was even in a like cursory way, right? Like she just gave her the letter and it was just like, oh, you're welcome. But we saw that, and obviously she gave it to Jordan because she didn't want him to whine by not getting his. And
He needed that.
he
needed
did,
that bad.
and she gave Spencer Billy's journal that he kept when Spencer first came to live with him. Now, I want to pose you all this question: do we really believe Billy Baker wrote some letters when they were born and kept some sort of a journal?
I
When
mean,
Spencer came to live with them. Does
so
that
the
align with
journal
the Billy
part, I
Baker?
don't. Yeah, the journal part is a little, but I do believe the letters.
Do we? I don't even know if I believe that. I'm like, we were
You
told that
don't?
Laura wrote Billy letters, and that's what they from like that's the historically accurate context in which they've given us, the writers. Here's the thing, and I said this online, but I said it on Twitter, but I was just like, we just keep getting these, like, every single episode Billy Baker just gets better and better as a human being and as a father and as a community man and whatever else, and they just keep giving us this alternate reality that now I'm at a place where I'm like, maybe I should just accept it. Like, this man is so different than who we actually had on our screens. Like,
Right? Yeah.
but they just keep giving it to us,
Giving
so it's
it
like I have no choice
choice.
but to accept it. But it still really bothers me that it's just like, it's very convenient that, oh, he has these letters because he's just like Corey, right? And he was just like, let me write my son a letter. Like, come on now. I don't know.
I mean, it's something that could have possibly happened that just was never brought up. I mean, I hear stories like that all the time of there just being special letters written. Nobody knows about them until the day of,
That's fair.
that special moment, and it's fair. So I'm like, it could have happened.
It could have happened. I'll give that one to you. I
Yeah, it
also
coulda
appreciate that they at least had Spencer acknowledge that he felt weird about taking the journal, because I feel like
Yeah.
that's something in times past where they would have just given Spencer the journal and it wouldn't have been a big deal and everybody would have been just hunky-dory about it. But the fact that
Yeah.
Spencer, I feel like I accepted this storyline more because Spencer actually shows some, like, yeah, I know that I'm
Shouldn't it just
family
go
and
to
everything, but
Jordan?
this is,
Right.
this is kind of, this is a little bit much. And she still gave it to him, and that's whatever. But I just, I appreciated that they had that scene there because I felt like that was really respectful of his real kids. But we all know that
I
Spencer is his
agree.
favorite child. The twins. Oh, you're my favorite twin. You're my favorite twin. No,
They're like, I
Spencer.
knew it. I knew it. I'm like, nah,
Spencer is your favorite child. Like, let's be for real. But getting into the letters, Jordan's letter, which, by the way, getting this man just sitting on the bed with them, like, I think it was a clever way to include him, but it was like every single time he popped up, I'm like, jump scare man. Like, Like, this is
I
very unserious. It was
it's
just a
very
little unserious.
because it's the way that Tay Diggs just talks, like as Billy Bacon. It
Exactly.
takes me out. I just feel like he really just talks like this as this man,
Yeah,
and it
your
takes
head.
me out. Like the lip movement,
Yeah,
everything.
like right, like your head looked like a lemon. Your head looked like
Like
a
a
lemon. Like
melon.
what?
You were
A
a
melon?
melon,
Exactly, a
man.
melon.
I'm like, what the
Whatever it
fuck?
was.
Did you just call my
Um,
Jordan boo a melon? Like, okay.
like just very odd, right?
It's
And
so
it's
unserious.
the little
It's
laugh
just,
too. The ah,
uh,
it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Anyway, so let me get into this.
I
So
miss Tay
basically,
Diggs.
Jordan's letter was that he should listen to himself. He should have strength in his convictions, and that he believes in him. And I said, this would have been nice if you would have
Told him this.
told him this when you were
Yeah,
alive, but
yeah.
Alive,
this is
but
neither
he
here
had to
nor
hear it from
there.
Layla. Yeah,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
but this is what, yeah, that letter, yeah.
This is what we're getting.
He couldn't
Exactly.
wait to open that letter. It took me
I
out. He was
know.
like
He
straight
was
through
like
that
opening
letter
it before Laura even finished
before.
explaining what they were. But it was really funny, and him in the most Jordan way possible.
Yeah,
Immediately after he reads the letter goes to
straight to
Mac to get advice on like
his
whether or not he should
boyfriend,
enter into the NFL. Yes, well,
ex-boyfriend.
exactly.
Damn.
Whether he should go into the NFL. And it was really funny to me because he literally said, I want to have the strength of my convictions. I was like, okay, Jordan, you don't need to verbatim say what your dad said. But the short end of this is that Mac ends up shading Jordan a little bit on his podcast after he said that he would help him out and give him some advice on whether or not he should enter in the NFL. Jordan confronts him about it, and says that he was trying to sabotage him because he didn't want to lose his starting quarterback for the
Yep.
season. And Jordan ends up that storyline basically calling out Mac, right? Saying, giving
Hmm.
his endorsement for Coach Kenny and saying like he's not just a
Yep.
numbers guy. Um,
Damn. So much
and
for him
yeah,
having his own guy, huh? He
exactly,
broke that off real
exactly,
quick.
exactly. So, what did y'all think about the Mac Jordan breakup, as it were?
The breakup of the episode, because I was waiting for the Jordala one. But I'm like, okay, this the breakup. Okay. That came quicker than I thought. I kind of knew something was gonna be off with Mac, but now everything's making sense to the numbers of it all, especially just remembering Layla, just like he's the first coach to take interest because of your numbers, basically, and all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm not. I'm just like it just came quicker the breakup. I guess I would say I kind of didn't feel this would be Jordan's guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just due to the whole Kenny of it all. Uh, but yeah, I guess it was what it was.
Yeah, yeah. It also like I'm also glad that it was because I think that a lot of fans, and this makes sense, right? Because sometimes like AA sort of over indexes on some like melodrama
Storyline.
sometimes, but
Yeah.
I was trying to I had this feeling that I was just like, I don't think there's gonna be a big bad. Like Ryan is not a big
Hmm.
bad, Mac is not a big
No,
bad. It's
not
just
at
Yeah.
all.
they're just flat characters meant to play a role in
Hmm.
Layla's story and Jordan's story, and that's in
Yep.
Spencer's story, right? And that's where it's gonna end. I don't think there's gonna be this like
There's,
overarching conspiracy for et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, Mac wants to
I
take
agree.
Kenny's job, and I think that that's been
Uh-huh.
clear. But it's not this like sort of Mo level. I'm planning in the shadows, or Tyrone level. Like I'm planning in the
Wrong level.
shadows of like how to get this person alone and X Y Z.
Hmm.
So I appreciated that it wrapped itself up for that purpose. But what do you
Yeah.
think, Jen?
Yeah. You see,
Oh, and
this
this
is
was the one
why,
that you liked the least, right? Yeah.
yeah, I think, yeah, it was, for me, it just felt like a waste of time in the sense of, what did the storyline really achieve? Because I was like, I think it irritated me because it was one of their storylines that was the most interesting to me in the beginning. Like the first three episodes, like the Mac, Kenny, Spencer, Jordan storyline was very interesting to me. And it just feels like there hasn't been any payoff for any of the characters. And then particularly when I'm looking at Jordan, it's like I lose respect for him in this episode because it's like the numbers work for you, right? When the numbers on your side, you're okay with it. and you go along with it, even though it is hurting Spencer's chances for the NFL, right? But now when it hurts your chances for the NFL, the numbers no longer work for you. So it just kind of felt really cowardly for me. Like I felt like Jordan was really cowardly in the beginning of the season, and yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it.
That's interesting. I didn't see it that way in particular. Like I'm just really quickly, because we do have to move on to Spencer. But I did no. But I'm saying I don't think it was that the numbers didn't work for Jordan necessarily. I think it was just that Mac was being underhanded in his avoiding the conversation about the NFL with Jordan, and we saw that in the last episode.
But
And so
then,
it was less about, oh, the numbers aren't working for me, or these are the stats about quarterbacks. Because I think if he had if he had said to Jordan earlier in that episode, like, hey, this is the reality of like what it's like to be a quarterback and try to enter the draft, and how successful are quarterbacks in the league and things like that, I think Jordan would have been much more receptive of it. But it was the underhanded way, and like, oh, we're not going to talk about this right now, right? We're going to wait until after the championship game. But it's really on this whole end of like, I want to keep you around sort of a
Yeah,
thing, rather than it was about like the numbers themselves.
and him
but
feeling
then,
used.
yeah, but then the only reason I'll disagree with you is because Mac has been underhanded the whole entire time he's been on. He has been sneaky, but then he was sneaky in a way that favored Jordan, and Jordan was okay with it. So whilst Mac's sneakiness was working in Jordan's favor, Jordan was okay with it. And then once the sneakiness turned against him, he was now against Mac. So I just
But I
think
feel
this
like that's
storyline,
that's true for like every character,
you see, okay,
is it not?
we've discussed this, like, yeah, okay. But yeah,
I know,
that's
but I'm
just the way
saying
I
like
see it.
I'm thinking of like Spencer and Wade. No, I understand. I'm just saying I think that like I get where you're saying. I just think that like
Mm.
that's because that's how human beings are. I think we saw the same thing with like Spencer and Wade, right? Like Wade and Jordan were cool for a minute there, and then like they fell out of favor, and then Spencer was cool with Wade because Wade was helping him. So I think it's just like that's just naturally how characters work. But I get what you're saying. But we do gotta jump to Spencer.
Yeah,
So
let's move on.
Spencer,
Okay.
reading. Really, and let us know what you think on the comments, and maybe Jen and Brittany will hop in the comments, and if y'all have questions
Yes.
for them on more of this, they can answer. Spencer reads Billy's journal. Had to cut it right there, but stay tuned for the next part of my conversation with Jen and Brittany Love on episode 608 of All American. Thanks for listening.